Welcome to Tarot Q&A Tuesday, special edition Aura-Soma. We've got Brenda Stanford.
Hi.
Welcome. And today what we're going to do is ask the questions as usual, answer with the tarot, and then we will get Brenda to shed some light on the question as well as your choice of colour if you choose to take up the bonus opportunity. What that means is if you have or haven't asked a question, you can put a colour into the chat, or you can go live, put your speaker off mute, and we can have a chat to Brenda about what the colours symbolise. So whatever colour first comes to mind, I would go with that one. It doesn't need to be your favourite colour.
Exactly.
Anywho, let's go. Without further ado, we are going to launch into the first question that pops to my... Oh, Michelle, it's your lucky day. It was the first one I saw.
First off the block.
Yes, I was going to allow a bit of lead time there, but anyway. My mum is looking to join me at the end of my trip, either in Europe or the UK in July. Is either or both a good feasible option for her to do so? Okay, well, I will just get into your energy with that. The thing about this is it's more about your mum than you. So often with these questions, when we ask about other people, we sort of need to get permission. It's like a privacy thing as well. So what might be best is to just get a vibe whether it's appropriate to work with your mum's energy and actually do a reading for her rather than you in this case. Sound good? Cool. Okay, is it safe and appropriate to do a reading for Michelle's mum? Yes, I'll use muscle testing to affirm that too. And we have a card come out. I'm not sure if it's relevant to you, but we will definitely take notice of it. Oh, a couple of cards. Brenda, would you like to tell your part of the story while I gather the goods? Do you have an idea of what's coming up for you regarding mum?
Michelle's question. Yeah, my initial answer was, it was almost a no. And then when I heard Europe or UK, it was UK rather than Europe. I kind of want you to be free. Not thinking about, mum's going to be, and now then I have to manage that and look after that situation. I want you to have, when I say I want, I feel you should not have things so locked down that you end up having to change course to meet a commitment that you made. Sorry, that took a little bit of coming out. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense based on the card that fell out when we were having this conversation. So I'm going to read it from both perspectives, which may complicate your thought process. The devil fell out on the floor, and that's a wonderful card to get in some cases. However, in this case, it's being chained to something. And this is the card that represents exactly what Brenda was saying, literally the chains, which is interesting. However, on a different note, for your mum, I get, hell yes, celebrations, fun with friends, fun with you, fun with other women. This would be a positive thing for her in the UK. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot do it. It just means to be aware of how you'll manage it. So it's more of a heads up on advice that if you can have some freedom and not feel tied down, then do that, because bear in mind that it may change dynamics, as Brenda said. What do they suggest? Well, it's a free will choice at the end of the day. And
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So I think with what Fiona just said there with the devil is like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're like your mum really wants that to happen and you really want it to happen, but then you also want your freedom. And then as Fiona was talking, I thought, oh yeah, there's another option here is if your mum has friends or a friend that might like to come as well, that actually the ladies do their thing. Maybe they book a tour and then you meet up with them for a little part of the trip.
Perfect.
If that is another option.
So. Yeah, what do you think of that, Michelle? Do you have anything to add? And do you have a colour? Did you mention a colour? Was it green? Did I see a colour?
Somebody,
I'm not sure.
you said to me someone had green. I don't think it was Michelle.
No. Okay, we can come back to your colour if you pop it in the chat. We'll do that later on. Vivian has a question. I'm launching a new business. Woohoo, how exciting. Do you have any wisdom or something I need to consider that I may not have thought about yet? I choose 2 colours. Is that okay? Emerald green and crimson. I will first go into... Actually, how about, since I'll be tuning in, you can do the first chatting to save us a little bit of time.
As soon as you said you were going into business, I thought about premises for some reason. I don't even know what business you were going into. So premises came up as being really important. So I don't know what that means. Maybe that will come out a bit more when Fiona speaks.
What about the... Oh, yeah.
And then the colours, the crimson, which would perhaps put into magenta, and emerald green. So really strong colours, actually really quite royal colours. When you're getting into emerald green rather than a mossy green, you're taking it into a more regal, more stronger message, if that makes sense. A bit like the BNZ using royal blue and gold rather than a soft sky blue and yellow. It's a message of strength and stability. So the emerald's more strong, and then the magenta or the crimson that you mentioned, really spiritual, heading up there into the higher chakras aspect. Very strong, and again very stable, but also very spiritual. And if you can take that in 2 ways. You can take it into the religious aspect, or you can take it into your intuitive aspect, depending on what your business is about. But I hope that sort of gives some insight.
Sounds like a lot of substantial insight.
Emerald is also to do with the heart, and
Well,
magenta is also about self-love. So
well, that's really, really, really quite funny, because the first card I pulled was actually the Ace of Cups, which in the way that I pulled it, I was feeling that was more about self-love. I often depict this as needing to fill your own cup up. So if you can see the card there, the light's a bit crazy. Yeah. If you can see this card, it's the cup is overflowing with beautiful love for yourself before you can overflow it to others. So the first message I got was, is this around what your message is, or is this about what you need to do while you're starting a new business? So in order to give you more clarity, I pulled another card, and it was about you starting a new business. So this is a page that it's in its infancy, but it has begun. So it's time for you to make sure your cup is full as you go through this, and not get too excited about all the things that need to be done about business, and also too overgiving of free stuff, actually. You know, that could be with your friends, or it could be giveaways that you do within your business. Make sure that you're finding a balance to fill your cup up. And that could be just having a massage or having time out. It's just super important. What I do see following all this is wishes and dreams coming true. So it's a nice mix. Yep. It's a nice mix, and it's just a really good balance of work and play. Makes for a happy chappy. Wishes come true.
And like he's got the green, and I know it's probably more of a red, but it's sort of leaning towards the crimson.
True.
Yeah.
New business, red and green.
Don't know if those are colours that you might be using for your branding.
Sounds good.
They're very stable, strong colours.
Perfect. All right, let's talk about Leah's question. Is it time to look for a new oversight doctor? Mine is expensive and not good value, especially in comparison to what others in my situation have. Yellow is my colour. Now, Leah this is like a supervisor, I believe, that she has to have somebody oversee her own business. It's just part of the legal requirements from the government, I guess.
Okay.
So you can potentially choose who you want. I assume that it's not like a delegated thing from the sounds of it. Does she seek elsewhere? This is a simple question. So we'll just go for a yes/no answer, I think.
Yep.
And but I actually know the feeling on this as well. I feel like I know what you're going to say. interesting card. We've got the Justice. So this is kind of pulling up some perhaps legal issues around that. I'm not sure what the story is with the actual government or the officials. There may be complications when it comes to changing over, like as if there's a disagree, like is there a conflict or disagreement that needs to go through before you change? I don't know if it's as easy as just changing. Ultimately, yes would be the answer to go through if you can, because you need something that is fair and reasonable. And if it is overpriced compared to other people, that's not fair and reasonable. And if you don't feel it's a balancing, it's a nice and reasonable communication and flow between the two of you, then yeah, do what's right for you. Find the balance, or communicate what you need, because I just feel, based on the yellow, I don't want to put my penny worth in where it's not meant to be, or it's not asked for. Maybe your attitude towards him is also affecting the way you perceive the situation to be. If you're more in your personal power with it, then you ooze that self-respect, and he automatically is better to work with for you. Short version of something that's not what I'm supposed to be talking about, so I'll give it to Brenda.
My very first intuition was you need to negotiate with him.
Oh, yeah, find the balancing act.
Yeah, find the balance and talk to, for some reason there's sort of, as Fiona was talking, I'm thinking maybe he's charging you the wrong
tier.
You're in the, like if you were turning over higher volumes of finance, you would go into a higher tier or lower tier. And there's some negotiation to go on there, and I think that's also the yellow. There's some anxiety there, but also it can be like clarity as well, and that the yellow can bring in a bit of a cognitive understanding of what's going on. And if we're feeling anxious, we often don't get the clear cognitive message, but if we can calm it down, the yellow can bring that cognitive understanding of what's going on. So I think conversations are needed first, and I think you might clear things up one way or the other anyway.
Yeah, when I first heard yellow, I felt you needed that sunshine within radiating out, so that you needed more joy to change the vibe that you were oozing, and in which case I interpreted that also as changing the dynamic between the two of you by you being more balanced in the hierarchy. He's not bigger than you, you're on the same level, and that's what needs to happen. But if you're not feeling good within yourself, if you're not radiating your sun, then you're feeling on the lower rung, and he's just picking up on that and just having communication with you that is a bit flattening. It's just a natural way that it happens when people feel good about themselves. They stand in a higher
they're not taking advantage
authority.
of the same, are they? People don't take advantage of them the same when you're standing in your own power.
Naturally they just don't. You just ooze. I talk a lot about oozing self-respect and then gaining it back. And people feel they're less worthy or not enough compared to others. It's completely BS, because we're all as worthy as one another. We've just got a different, unique purpose for this lifetime. And we say hello to Zoe. Good to have you here. Now, Michelle has said her colour is magenta. She's also mentioned, thanks ladies, that clarifies one option I was thinking of meeting mum at the end in the UK. Now, while Brenda was chatting about yellow, I pulled a card for Jess. Ironically, I pulled it before I read the question, but it's very relevant. That's interesting. It's all about vibration. We don't actually need to know what it's about. Jess asks, I am recently experiencing a lot of anxiety in my job. I want to know if this job is aligned to me. Will I feel any relief from this anxiety? The card I initially pulled, and I'll pull another one for you as well, is actually the Three of Pentacles. This is a positive card, and it does imply, though, that there's a necessary possible arrangement of your role within the company. So in this case, 3 people are working on a project and they are all equal levels. Now, I sort of sniggered just before because it reminded me of what we were just talking about. When we are all feeling valuable and of the same worth, we just all work together as a team, as a collaboration, not as a level of hierarchies. So whether or not you're talking about boss, secretary, and salesperson, or salesperson, marketing manager, marketing assistant, you don't have to be on a different rung because you all have a significant role to play, and they're all equally as worthy energetically, although some might have more responsibility or do different things. So if you can be proud of what you do and know that it is significant and that you put yourself into that unique offering you give to the party, that you give to the group, that you give to the team, then you have immediately up your subconscious level of feeling worthy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel I might have been able to explain it a little bit better. It's really about, it may actually require you to change some actual work, like your job description, in order for it to feel more valuable or for others to see you as more valuable. At this point, it does feel that it's still the right space to be. And now, while Brenda's giving her pennyworth, I'll just pull a card about the anxiety that you mentioned.
It's funny because as Fiona's talking, I remembered once apparently there's a book or a story that's called Orange Underpants. Have I mentioned that before?
No, I'd wear it. I'd read it and wear it.
So it's about when people are feeling anxious, especially in the day-to-day like work environment, to wear orange underpants.
Yes.
It keeps you grounded, but also gives you this energy, and it helps you feel, better about yourself.
Or maybe
so there you go. Maybe you can go and buy yourself some orange underpants. It's not really telling the story very well, but it is interesting about, it's almost like having a little secret. I've got orange underpants.
That's what I was thinking about.
Who wears orange underpants? And then you could have a wee snigger to yourself that you're wearing orange underpants. So I know that sounds mad.
Or the sexiest lingerie that you can find. It could just equally be as powerful.
have some sort of secret agenda. I know that sounds weird, but it is quite powerful. And yeah, I feel within the job is actually, are you feeling, what's that word that people are using now? And like imposter syndrome? That you actually don't have the skills that you need. And if that's the case, I want to tell you that you're wrong. Actually, if you really spoke to your colleagues, you'd find that they really respect what you're doing. So I think you're overthinking it.
And I pulled this, I've just showed you the card. This is the illusions. It is about the way you're thinking about things, whatever. This is what's causing the anxiety. And if you don't mind me saying, I am probably crossing over a small boundary here. I do know that Jess has had exactly what you have described, considering the imposter syndrome, and we did some work around that and clearly discovered it wasn't the case. So that's a double whammy. I never said anything, Jess, to Brenda about that.
Nothing at all.
Of course, it wouldn't come up. And here is just a sign that somehow it's about really training your brain, and I'm not talking about our subconscious belief transformation. It's really of training your brain during the day, because you've got to literally go stop Jess to yourself, because what is happening is, in fact, if you look at this dude, in a way he's kind of holding his hand up saying stop to this mirage that's in front of him. This is, it's causing the feeling of instability, of the emotions that are coming up. And whilst you can take the emotions that are rising during these moments throughout the day and do the whole conscious creation code, energy transformation, or some crossovers to balance the nervous system to help with the anxiety, or any deep breaths, ultimately you need to come into this queendom vibe. I mean, you really need to break open that shell. It's interesting that those orange underpants came up, because orange is the colour of shock therapy, really. Well, it's the antidote to shock in Aura-Soma. And so I wonder if that has any relevance to the whole process.
And as Fiona spoke then, I think you're reflecting on something that's happened in your past that's bringing up this anxiety. So,
that would be subconscious too.
Yeah, exactly. So
I just want to
remember you're in the now.
I just want another answer for Jessica. I just want to see if we can get anything that can really give us...
You're more respected than you realise where you're working.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Is there an origin of the anxiety that we can get a more of a specific angle on, so that you've got something to practically work with when you're trying to move into a calmer state? Or is there something? Follow your passion. Keep following things that excite you. Follow that from your heart and soul, and not your mind of chitter chatter. It's a really good redirectional tool, just as I say to anybody who is wanting to be on their purpose. If you're not feeling aligned in your job, it's because you're not seeing the areas that you're excited about, you're not passionate about it. So find the passion within the job. Find the excitement that you had when you got the job. Remember why you got the job. There's no question whether you've got the skills to do the job. It's not even part of the equation in what we're picking up here and what I've always found working with you. So therefore, it's just about igniting that, move towards the excitement. Follow your passion. Follow the things that light you up. Remember that you're in this job at the moment. It's almost serving a purpose for your next adventure as well. So whether or not you love every aspect of it, it doesn't matter. It's giving you the tools and the money that you need for when you go on your next adventure next year. And so if you can keep your eye on the prize, then it's only for the moment. So it is, whilst we've got to live in the now, we need to also realize that there are bigger things coming around the corner, that it's worth just being okay in the moment and not having to achieve any more than you're already doing.
Beautiful.
Oh, that was the Knight of Wands that I pulled for you. I may not have shown you the card.
From here, I don't know, with the light, the horse looked like it was orange.
Oh yeah, the horse is orange, and the color is orange because it's all about the second chakra.
Yeah.
And the horse was moving forward with excitement. That means following the passion. It's more important than people realize. Oh, just follow your excitement, follow your passion. No, really do that, because that's what feels good. And when you feel good, you don't have anxiety. So it doesn't mean you follow your passion just at work. You do it with everything. And I might bang on about it a lot, but a lot of people are not doing enough things that are passion. He's the King of Wands. Okay, let's do the collective consciousness reading. And Jess has said, thank you so much, both, with an orange heart. Our pleasure, of course. All right, let's do a reading for everyone who happens to watch this episode, even if it's 10 years from now. What are we going to do? Past, present, future, one or two? Do you have a feeling? Do you have an idea? What should we do? 3, 2, 1. I think we're going to do 1 because we've got a bit more to get through. We just want one little message for the collective conscious. We're going to use the card to stimulate the wisdom, even though reading tarot is not strictly about the card itself. It is also learning how to tap into your intuition. So let me know if you're interested in learning tarot, because it's something that will be coming within the offerings within my business soon. If you'd like to learn the basics of tarot, send me a message. Okay, we have pulled the 4 of Cups. I love this card. You know what? This is cracking me up, because I'm actually finding at the moment that a lot of people are adults being little brats at the moment. And what that means is they're getting the pip. See this guy in this card? He's got the hump. He's got the hump. He's a bit depressed. He's a bit gutted because he's been given this abundance or this love or some sort of nice thing. Could be someone offering their love, but not in the way that you want it.
Yeah.
Because that's what's happening, is that when life doesn't go exactly as we had planned it, yet other good things are happening, we can be getting the pip, having the hump, getting grumpy, being a brat, throwing our toys out of the cot. And actually, it's not meant to be like that. We can make plans, but we need to be flexible and be able to pivot and change when we come up against a brick wall. That is not a bad thing happening. It's our guides, our angels, the universe, our higher self giving us a push in the new direction, saying, hey, you've done really well to this point, but no, you're just a little bit off track, maybe there over there. So when things don't go very well, we do have to be aware of the good things that are coming. Now, this dude is sitting by a tree. And this is a good way to realign with ourselves when we are feeling a bit frustrated, when things aren't going how we want them to go. And therefore, that's what he needs to do so that he can see the three cups there that are sitting upright, that are all on offer, that are there. Well, he's looking at the one cup that's been offered to him that he's not willing to take and accept because it's not how he thought it should be. Well, our human mind is so limited compared to our higher mind. And the only way our higher mind can really get through to us is through emotions. So if we feel crap, we usually want to do something to change that crappy feeling, which makes us go into a new direction. But what happens is, so many people don't change the direction. They just get the pip. They get grumpy. They get depressed. They get annoyed. And this is the message. I see so many adults at the moment being brats. They're just like resisting what is and ignoring the messages. Whoa, there's a bit of a lecture for you. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
It does.
There's an ant on your breasts.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, excuse the pornography. So that's my vibe on it, is just to take a look at your emotional attitude about how things are panning out. If life's not going to plan, maybe the plan needs to change or be slightly adjusted, and you might be surprised that the new path you lead down is the best path for you. And it might not be the first path you turn around. It might not be the second, but the third one might be everything that you've ever dreamed of. Take the risk.
And the dream might change, you know, like you think you want to have the old classical partner, white picket fence, fluffy dog, 2 kids, and suddenly that doesn't happen, but you actually get a whole lot more.
Well, it looks like a different thing, you know, like the outcome. Abundance is, ask somebody what abundance means, you'll get a trillion different answers.
Exactly.
Actually, here's a great analogy. No, it's not really relevant to this, but it's really, I don't know why, it just popped into my head. I really like it. In life, well, it is a bit. Okay, I'll explain. So think about walking down the street. When we walk down the street, a busy street, a main street, there's lots of different people. We've all got different priorities, we're all identifying as different beings with different important things to do. So when we walk down the street, perhaps I'll make up some examples. Like a real estate agent might be walking down the street and witnessing the places that are available for lease, or that property that he could or she could sell at some point. A mother might be walking down the street and observe the children, that maybe a child's about to walk out onto the street and they quickly pull the child in before they run somewhere. A fashion designer might be looking at everybody's outfits because she can't help but, he or she can't help but notice clothing because it's their forte. Whatever we are into, whatever we love, whatever our mind mostly focuses on, we just see that in the street. The real estate person possibly didn't even notice all the outfits. The mum possibly wasn't even looking at the potential for any of the properties to be sold. And if we can therefore decide what we actually want and put our energy into that and open our horizons, broaden our perspective, then you'll see so many gifts in front of you. And then you'll see the other bits of love that man in the image with the pip, with the grumpiness, wasn't seeing. So lots of stuff is in front of us waiting for us to receive, and we just completely miss it because we're focused on something else. And often that something else is our problems or our worry or something that didn't go our way. It's not actually what we want. So imagine if you're focusing on what you don't want, you're just going to get more of it. So kind of a dumb move, right?
Yep. You're just going to see it everywhere.
Woo! On a roll, on a roll. Tina. Oh, excuse me, just itching and scratching. What is my soul's purpose? It's a big question, but it's an easy answer because I don't need to pull a card for that. Your soul's purpose is to be you. However, the challenge to be our true self is the actual ride that you will eventually find different aspects of your true self along the path. Your soul's purpose is to be you and to keep being you and to evolve being you and to do the special, unique thing or serve the world in a way that is aligned with your plan of attack before you landed on Earth, your blueprint that you set yourself up for. Let's give you a hint though. If you're feeling a way off track and you're just going, I've got no idea. Well, we'll give you two hints. One, follow your passion and excitement because that's already come up. We've already given you that clue. And I'm going to tune in to see if we get a bit of a story to help you refocus and begin revealing more of your authentic self. On that note, you can choose to do my 21-day challenge, which is about nurturing your soul's purpose. This is really helping you to get to know yourself better, mind, body, and soul. And it allows you to strip away anything that is blocking the flow of your true heart from glowing. That's the path. Okay. Can you answer the question while I just get a card, please? Because I'm going to take my time.
What is my soul purpose? Yeah, I think as Fiona said, you know, like follow your passion. And you can...
I feel that I need to find in the cards what the passion is for the person though, because that's the trick. Many people don't even know what they're passionate about. So I really I really suggest starting with all the little things you like. Like I always say, I love candles, I love crystals, I love flowers, I love hugs, I love kisses, I love laughing, I love wine. And then eventually, oh, I'm such a meanie with my laughing, aren't I?
I was going to say, you're not supposed to laugh at people.
Oh, I know. But this is exciting. I'm excited because this is the Fool, which is the very beginning. It's the first card on your spiritual journey, which does not mean that you're not already actively walking through life with spiritual awareness. It means it's an up level. You've come to a new chapter and you're going to do another cycle around the hero's journey, around the Fool's journey, which is the major arcana in the tarot. And to do this, we must come back to our naivety. We must remember that we don't know everything. We must choose to be open to things that can surprise us. And sometimes when you are a very intelligent and worldly person, it's quite difficult to find a book or a motivational speaker that tells you something you don't know. I get that. I find that frustrating. I want somebody to share something inspiring and amazing that I've never heard of. But, you know, the greater that you fly on the rungs of growth, the more
pointy end you get to.
The less you're going to find and the more secret and treasure-like it is. So I think that you're going around that cycle, seeking that treasure at the top, this person. What was their name?
Tina.
Tina. And that is very exciting. But it requires a real open mind and a feeling of childlike wonder and awe. Like it's a real opportunity to go, yeah, I'm actually going to start today. I'm going to do this journey. Because if you're just sort of trying to jump a few hurdles and I already know so much stuff and I want to get to that, then you are missing some really important foundational work.
Yeah, come in with childlike eyes and look for new things to delight and excite. You know, and that could be just watching the birds.
It's also about making the decision to do it. Like it's a commitment to yourself to say, I actually want to live on my soul's path and purpose. I want to find the best route to fulfill what is born to do. And I often say this to clients. I do say you've got to decide, but you do have to decide. It's like you don't start deciding to join a soccer team you don't join a soccer team without deciding, I'm going to join a soccer team and play for fun or play to get really skillful so I can be famous. You have a decision that you're going to do something, and then you roll through the process and the journey of how that happens in your life. And so many people are not making these decisions around things that seem less tangible. But it's all energy, and it all ends up creating a different level of personal fulfillment or experience. And that's why we do everything. We do everything to create a feeling. But if we have our eye on the why, I know it's a lot of words, isn't it?
It's a lot of words.
Sorry, guys. Moving on. Next person. Zoe, did you want to ask a question and offer a colour since you're there live today? In the meantime, we're going to answer Carmen's question. May I have a general card about what I need to hear, please? And green is my colour of choice. General card. Thank you. That'll be a nice and easy one after my big rave on. But do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by that rave on? You know, like you've got to...
Yeah, well, the Fool has got his little rucksack of all the pieces, all the puzzle to put back together again.
Yeah.
So he's got all the tools and all the information.
Well, he's about to discover new tools as well.
Yeah. I didn't mean all the puzzles were together.
He's got everything inside of him he needs, is what, yes. And he is a he in the tarot, but in the life, it's a them. It's a them. Whatever you identify with, you can work with. Oh, Carmen, how beautiful.
And lots of green.
Well, green is the colour she chose, and the star is the beautiful card. And this is about being the star. This is about being authentic. This is a nudie Rudy here. We've got here the naked person. So they're being as vulnerable as you can get in order to allow yourself to bloom. So that means letting go of the ego, shedding the layers of excuses, removing the attachments to stuff, and really making a decision to be the star of your life. There you go. Simple.
New growth, new expansion is the green. Depending on which green you see, but the fresh new growth is all about new growing, new direction, seeing things more clearly.
I like that because it aligns really well, because the star is actually about an 8 energy, and the 8 is very much aligned with personal power, inner strength, inner confidence, building self-love, and then coming into the new version of yourself. It's all one and the same, and green is the heart colour as well. So that really resonates with shining your glowing heart into the world. Share with the world what you were born to do. So there's a little bit of a pattern going on here today, isn't there?
And Michelle chose magenta.
Magenta, yes.
And magenta sort of like in Aura-Soma is indigo, and outside here in the chakras. So it's a higher mind function. It's higher connection to source and spirit. It's also loving the little things, like really appreciating all the little things in life. So that it's almost like pennies. You save your pennies and pounds look after themselves, the old-fashioned saying. It's sort of like nurture and love yourself a little bit all the time, and then you have that resource to give out to others. It's also your intuition and your inner knowing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That was for Michelle. Did you get that?
Michelle.
Pretty awesome.
Magenta.
Zoe has suggested she would like to talk about the colour blue. We'll do that in just one moment. I'm going to answer one last question, and then we have time for any extra questions.
So tell me whether you want royal blue or blue. This blue, I don't know if you can see
Or
this
turquoise,
one.
or whatever.
Or this
Or
one.
pale blue.
Pale blue, yeah.
This last question is from Sarah. My friends are in a new relationship, and my friends, I don't know if she knows both of them, and I'm not sure if they are meant to be. is it a good union and will they last? Well, this is an interesting one around privacy again, because we're not always privy to other people's information, because that makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. None of our business.
Yeah, it's none of our business. It's none of our business. It's interesting. Why do you want to know that? I don't mean to be rude, but it is a question. If you were concerned for someone's well-being, you know, are they in a safe relationship? I think that's very, very important to bring to somebody's attention. In this case, let's just feel into, is it okay that we ask this, is it safe and appropriate for us to get some information about this particular man and woman? Okay, well, we can get a general overview. I mean, nothing is ever set in stone. Like, people go to a tarot reader or clairvoyant and they think, I want to know my future. Well, to a large degree, we have so much say with our free will in our future, and the outcome is not always laid out like people think it is. Whilst there are destiny landmarks along the way, and perhaps even people that you were more likely meant to meet, it's not as cut and dry. And especially at this time when we're moving from a 3D reality into a more 4D, 5D awareness, which is basically not as physical, not as concrete, not just stuck in the humdrum of build a house, get a job, pay the bills, do stuff, but instead is more connected with the higher realms, with your angelic assistance, with spirit, with the universe, with quantum physics, with however you like to term it. And as we move up into having a bigger connection with our soul, then we have a more grand experience of this. Why am I telling them this? Well, doesn't matter. That was a good bit of information for you, wasn't it? This couple that you're talking about, let's just get a read. Oh, that's right. Are they going to last? Well, it's really more that people come together for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So why don't we just ask, do you feel the energy is a reason, a season, or a lifetime? Let's do that one.
And trust that they'll get out of that relationship what they need to leverage.
Yeah, because that's obviously the reason. There'll be something that each of them needs to talk about as a reason. Okay, I'm picking 3 cards here. I can't even get it. I can't even get a 3rd card. It's quite funny. Okay, the first one says, yes, hell yes, to a reason. It's a man offering his love in this image. It's the Knight. And often it's a two-way street. It's the start of something, but it's also a definite yes card. In answer to a season, I'm going to interpret this as a no at this stage. It can go either way, but it's more, because it's the way I'm reading it today. It's the King of Swords, and it's just a bit.
Maybe you're not meant to know.
No, we're not, because I can't even get a 3rd card. I couldn't even get a 3rd card. So I'm saying it's definitely a reason. And is it a season?
It might be longer, might be shorter.
Might be longer, might be shorter. So that can be read as a maybe, a yes or a no, this card, which is quite complicated, being the King of Swords, because he is very black and white, but then he has this underlying cheekiness. So he's not as serious as he comes across. So he's kind of unpredictable, and that's why I said I'm reading as a no, because he's like, the swords can be quite cutting, and when you see a card like this in the question of yes or no, I'm like, I feel like it's cutting off.
It's cutting us off.
Oh yeah, it's probably cutting us off. Okay, we've got as far as they're definitely together for a reason. What that reason is will most likely be some level of emotional or spiritual growth, because that's usually what it all stands for at the end of the day.
It's none of our business, sorry. Sorry, sometimes
Anyway.
it's just not,
One last thing, and then we will leave you for a beautiful evening on this lovely Tuesday, and that is for
person that wanted
Zoe. She wanted to know about blue. What colour blue? The two colour blue on the bottom shelf, 6th bottle in from the left. Michelle says, thanks Brenda, about to go for a glass of vino, enjoy the little things. We love it, magenta all the way. Also have been consciously, mindfully connecting into source the past week. Woo! It's all perfect, amazing. What a good
Is it this
human
one
you've
here
been.
that she's talking about? Well, this one.
6 bottle in.
But didn't she say the bottom shelf?
Second.
Oh, second.
Yes,
bottom?
that one.
That one.
Yeah.
So here we've got the beautiful deep magenta on the base fraction.
It will look different in the... Let me just
Yeah.
do this for you as well, because we don't
If
have
I
this...
hold, so if I hold that one, you can see maybe that beautiful colour.
Not really.
Yeah, kind of can, I think.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
can
can
now.
Oh, okay.
So that,
Was
I
that
showed you that so that you could see what that
That's
base...
the blue she's talking about. I think that's what she means.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That bit. So okay, so that's heading. It's a softer blue, but it's heading towards a turquoise, which is a beautiful. It's about fun and joy, but it's also turquoise is the new age color, really. So it's the color we're moving into, the age of Aquarius. So it's going from, I think I've talked about this last time, from time is money to time is creativity. So really time to step into your expression of something, how you express yourself in the world, and that could be through your clothing, and if you're into artistic anything, writing, singing, drawing, painting, knitting, it's all creative. So really get into your creative juices.
I like
That's
it.
right.
Sounds quite relevant for you too, Zoe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does it? Is that a yes or a
I'll have to
question?
think about it. I'll
Yeah.
have to ponder on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, but today's theme I think has been about follow your passion, and I think see if you've got something for fun. I've got to say it's got to be fun.
Don't you have a project that you've got that you're toying with?
I've got all sorts going on. My mind is too full at the moment, to be honest.
She just pulled the star for you.
Well, yeah, I think things are blooming.
Blues are also about relaxing and calming, and like just being more peaceful.
Yeah, so the blue is calming and serenity, and the turquoise is the creative expression. So depending on where you sit on that scale between your colour preference is the level of combination of the two that would probably work for you. But yeah, I think that you are dabbling to create. That's the vibe I had last time I was in touch with you anyway as well.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm definitely trying to aim for the more fun side of life rather than the mundane grind.
Yeah, just enjoy. Like whatever you're creating. And for some people, it's when they're creating their evening meal, make it more joyful. That's a creative.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for coming, Zoe. It's nice to have you
Thanks,
here.
everyone.
We'll
See
see you
you.
next time.
Bye.
Okay, we'll sign off from everybody. So it's been groovy. Thank you for your patience with my long, drawn-out encyclopedia versions of my descriptions. Next time I'll turn up with the concise dictionary ones, and we'll be over in 10 minutes flat.
Good.
All right, lots of love.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao for now.